Hey there, guys. So you all know that Megan Rapinoe, she's been a very, very vocal supporter of allowing biological males coming into women's sports to absolutely dominate the competition. That's all that will happen. Of course, she's getting to be her most vocal and her most supportive right around the time that she's setting herself up to retire. So she actually doesn't have to worry about at all having to compete against anyone that her virtue signaling is going to be responsible for inviting. So why is it, you guys, that you think that she is supporting biological males in women's sports? She absolutely knows that the women will absolutely be crushed by any biological male competitor. They'll be crushed. They'll be absolutely annihilated. And it's already been proven to her firsthand in a couple of exhibition games. It just, to me, in just my opinion, it seems just unfair is all it really seems. She, I think, is intelligent enough to know this. And there's no doubt in my mind that she knows exactly what will happen. But for some reason, man, she's dug herself in so deep with this woke narrative that there really is no difference between men and women when it comes to athletics. And I can't honestly believe that anyone actually believes that. Let me know in the comments if you actually know anyone that believes that, because I'd love to speak to someone who actually truly in their heart believes it. Obviously, Lia Thomas alone proves it. She was mediocre at best on the men's side of swimming. She quote unquote transitioned into a woman and is now the champion, completely wiping out the competition. Now we have a former U.S. Olympic gymnast, Jennifer Say, who was pretty awesome in her day. She's had enough, basically, of, and she's come out pretty heavy. She's pretty much slamming, the hypocrisy of Megan Rapinoe, however you say it, because let's not forget, the U.S. women's soccer has actually had to compete against men, young boys to be exact, and they absolutely lost, man. I wonder how many of the woke revolutionaries that promise us that there really is no difference between the sexes actually know that little boys, I think 15-year-old high schoolers, beat our U.S. women's national team. I would guess that most of them actually do not know that. And if they do know, well, then they're just being completely and totally dishonest, man. So let's read a little bit from this article. So one of the most famous gymnasts in the United States history has called out Megan Rapinoe. Legendary U.S. Olympian Jennifer Say is calling out Rapinoe for her opinion on transgender athletes. Rapinoe has been very supportive of transgender athletes in sports, downplaying their impact on women. Show me all the trans people who are nefariously taking advantage of being trans in sports. Rapinoe said it's just not happening. Say, meanwhile, doesn't agree with her. Sorry, I have to collect myself. So hold on. Guys, it is happening. I've showed you the video in the past, the young girl getting drilled right in the face by a biological male high school volleyball player, and she's still suffering the effects of that. Lia Thomas is another example of someone actually taking advantage of being trans in sports. And how about Emily Bridges, a cyclist? And there's more. There was a South Korean transgender cyclist who entered competition literally to prove a point that there is a difference, and this person won by a freaking mile. They said they weren't proud of the win, and I believe that she didn't even accept the award, said they just wanted to prove a point, So for Megan Rapinoe to say that it isn't happening and that no one is benefiting from unfair competition is just completely disingenuous, man. So anyway, Say, meanwhile, doesn't agree with her. I'm sorry, I've got to collect myself, Say said. I guess I would ask her why the best women's soccer team in the world lost to 15-year-old high school boys. Yeah, like I said. Why was that? How did that happen? They said an average high school boys team. They lost. The best women's soccer team in the world. There is an advantage. This is not trans bigotry. And I agree. No one cares about trans. This is not bigotry. This is about girls and this is about women. Say 54 was a member of the United States Olympic team and won all-around national championship. That's pretty cool. He's awesome. Yeah. So they lost 5-2 in that game to 15-year-old boys. Absolutely embarrassing, man. And about a month ago, members of the women's national team lost to a bunch of old guys, my age, 50-plus-year-old retired players. So they're real players, but they lost freaking 12-0 or 12-0, as they say in England. Anyway, let's read a little bit more about Say. She seems pretty awesome. I think she's one of us. Say continued, we have to acknowledge that biology, testosterone in and of itself, but also having gone through male puberty, confers advantages. That's why we have separate categories of men's and women's sports. Denying that is denying reality, Say said. So I'm very much in favor of protecting women's sports and giving women a fair and even playing field to compete against each other access to the educational opportunities that come from that. That's a big deal right there. Rapinoe is currently playing in her final Women's World Cup. The U.S. women's national team topped Vietnam. Well, we all saw that, and we should do a video on the way they treated the national anthem. But guys, no one's really even watching this. So Megan's on her way out because she knows basically the men are on their way in, and she's helping that happen. And man, shout out to Miss Say. Good for her for not being ashamed or scared to actually stand up for truth in times like today. But yeah, man, male puberty is a real thing. The bone structure, the muscles of a man, it's a real thing. It's a massive difference. And in most cases, no amount of hormone therapies is going to erase all of the biological advantage. It's just not going to cut it. How is it that Lia Thomas was ranked 400s as a male, takes off a year, and wins the women's championship? I'd love to see Megan Rapinoe explaining to us in real simple English how that happens. She knows, she has to know that there's an advantage. She must know the same things we all know. So either she's not living in reality, or really she's just too terrified to step even a toe off of the woke plantation, man. She knows that if she does, she'll be done. She'll be canceled for good. She really has destroyed the place, man, on her way out. She's taken a great and amazing, proud national team and made them so unpopular that no one really even cares this year what goes on with the Women's World Cup. Anyway, those are just some of my thoughts on this, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to reading them. And please make sure that you like, subscribe. Most importantly, share the Common Sense Garage. We'll see you in the next one.